Ryan stood at the edge of the alien colony, staring at the tiny house made of pale blue stone. His boots were covered in dust from the long walk across the valley, and his backpack was almost empty now, just a few clothes and a broken communicator he could not afford to fix. Behind him, the wind carried a soft humming sound from the colony's energy towers, but everything else felt silent, as if the world was waiting to see what he would do. He had come here for a simple reason. He needed work, any work. Earth had nothing left for him, and the few jobs available to travelers in the outer systems were always taken by those with better skills or better connections. He had none, just a tired body, a tired heart, and the hope that maybe this colony, small, peaceful, and far from trouble, would give him a chance. The sign outside the small house was written in bright purple letters. He could barely read the local language, but he recognized the symbols for "Help Wanted." That was enough. He took a deep breath and stepped toward the door. Before he could knock, the door opened on its own. A small alien woman stood there, looking up at him with wide silver eyes. She was barely 3 feet tall, with soft skin the color of lavender and thin, delicate hands. Her species was known for their gentle nature and emotional sensitivity. They were short, yes, but their hearts were strong. Her name, he learned earlier from the colony board, was Lirava. She looked at him quietly for a moment, as if studying his soul instead of his face. Then she stepped aside and motioned for him to enter. Ryan walked inside slowly. The house was warm, filled with a faint smell like sweet fruit. There were soft cushions on the floor, small toys scattered near a little nest-shaped bed, and glowing crystals that gave a calm light. Everything looked peaceful but also lonely. Lirava folded her hands. "You came for the job?" "Yes," Ryan said. "I saw the listing. I can clean, fix things, carry supplies. Anything you need." Her eyes did not change. She only blinked once. "I do not need a worker." Ryan felt his chest tighten. I understand. I'm sorry for bothering you." He began to step back toward the door, embarrassed and disappointed. He had come all this way and now he had nothing again. But Lirava gently raised her hand. "No, you misunderstand. I do not need a worker, because I need something else." Ryan stopped. "What do you mean?" Her voice lowered into something soft. "I need a father." Ryan blinked. He had heard many strange things since leaving Earth, but never something like that. A what?" "A father," she repeated calmly, steady eyes watching his reactions. "Not for me, for my child." Ryan felt the air leave his lungs. "I'm sorry. I think I heard wrong. You want me to be a guiding presence, a stable protector, someone to help raise my young one." Her tone remained gentle, but firm. "My people do not choose fathers by blood. We choose them by heart, and my child needs one." Ryan opened his mouth, closed it, then tried again. "I came to find a job, not join a family." "I know," she said, almost whispering. "But I do not need a worker. I need someone who can give safety, and someone who can stay." Ryan felt like the ground shifted beneath him. He had never been someone's father. He had never even considered it. Back on Earth, he barely kept himself together. How could he take care of a child from another species? Lirava looked toward the small bed in the corner. A tiny shape hid behind it. Ryan saw glowing yellow eyes peeking at him nervously. "That is Yuli," she said softly. "My child." Ryan crouched a little so he didn't look intimidating. He smiled gently, but Yuli only ducked further. Lirava continued. "Yuli has not spoken since the storm season. The winds took away her father during a supply run. 3 cycles have passed, and her voice has not returned." "I'm sorry," Ryan whispered. She nodded, accepting the sympathy but not asking for it. "I put the job posting because Yuli needs help, But anyone can sweep floors. Anyone can fix tools. What she needs is someone who can make her feel safe again. Ryan swallowed hard. I don't think I'm good at being safe. My life has been a mess for a long time. You fixed your own communicator, even though it is broken, she said quietly. You carry everything you own on your back. You walked alone into an unknown valley with no fear. Humans fear many things, but they do not fear responsibility when it finds them. Ryan let out a tired breath. Trust me, I've made many mistakes. And yet, Lirava said, stepping closer with calm certainty, you still try. That is more than what many can say. Ryan didn't know what to answer. He wasn't used to someone believing in him, especially after just meeting him. It felt strange, but warm. He looked again toward Yuli. The child watched him carefully. Like a small animal scared of sudden movement. He saw a broken toy near her, a crystal sphere cracked down the middle. Without thinking, Ryan walked slowly toward it. Yuli froze but didn't run. He crouched again, picked up the broken toy, and turned it gently in his hands. It can be fixed, he said softly. Yuli shook her head. Ryan pressed the two sides together, applying light pressure. The crystal reconnected with a soft click. It wasn't perfect, but it held. The inner light of the toy pulsed faintly again. He held it out to her. Yuli stared at him for a long moment. Then, with trembling hands, she reached out and took it. She looked at the glowing toy, then at Ryan. A single word slipped from her lips. Quiet, fragile, but real. Safe. Lirava gasped softly. Her hands covered her mouth as her eyes filled with emotion. She had waited months to hear her child speak again, and the first word she said was in front of a stranger. Ryan felt something shift inside him, something heavy and warm. He glanced at Lirava. Did she really? Yes, Lirava whispered. It is her first word since the storm. You did that. Ryan didn't know what to do. He wasn't used to being important to anyone, and now a small alien child had spoken her first word in months because he fixed a toy. Yuli stepped a little closer to him, still holding the glowing crystal. She reached out and touched his knee gently, as if checking if he was real. Lirava watched them with eyes full of quiet hope. Do you see? She trusts you. Ryan shook his head. I don't know how to be a father. You do not need to know. You only need to stay. The rest will come. He looked around the little home. The cushions, the crystals, the tiny shoes near the door. He imagined himself here cooking simple food, fixing things, talking to a child who slowly regained her voice. He imagined having a place where someone waited for him. He wasn't sure if he was ready for any of that. I need time, he said finally. Lirava nodded. You may stay for dinner. Decide after. Yuli tugged lightly at his sleeve, guiding him toward the soft cushions. She sat beside him, still watching him silently, but no longer scared. Ryan sat down too, feeling strangely at peace. Lirava began preparing a meal, humming a gentle tune from her culture. Yuli leaned against Ryan's arm, just slightly, as if testing the idea of comfort. For the first time in a long while, Ryan didn't feel like a traveler who had lost everything. He felt like someone who had arrived somewhere important. As he watched Yuli play with her mended toy, he realized something he hadn't expected at all. Maybe this wasn't a job. Maybe it was a second chance. And he didn't know yet if he would take it. But for the first time since leaving Earth, the thought didn't scare him. It gave him hope. Ryan woke up the next morning to the sound of small footsteps moving softly across the floor. For a moment he didn't know where he was. The cushion he slept on was far softer than anything he had used during his travels, and the warm light in the room felt peaceful instead of harsh like the colony dorms. Then he heard a quiet giggle, and he remembered. He was in Larava's home. Yuli peeked around the corner, her eyes glowing gently. She hurried back when she saw him looking, but not out of fear. This time it felt more like she was playing. Ryan rubbed the sleep from his eyes and stretched his arms. He hadn't expected to stay the night, but Larava insisted it was too dark and cold outside to wander back to the traveler's area. When he stood, the child peeked again. Her toy, the one he repaired, was glowing in her hands. She hugged it tightly as she approached him. "Morning," he said with a soft smile. Yuli stared for a moment, then whispered a new word. "Warm." Ryan felt something pull at his chest. She was speaking again, slowly, gently, and somehow the words she used made him feel like he was doing something right. Larava entered the main room carrying a tray with small dishes that smelled sweet. She looked at Ryan with calm eyes. "You slept well?" "Better than I expected," he admitted. "Thank you." She placed the tray on the low table. "Eat with us." He hesitated out of habit. He was used to being a guest, not part of a home. But Yuli grabbed his hand and guided him to sit. It was hard to say no to such tiny determination. They ate together quietly. The food was soft and sweet, made from local fruits and grains. Yuli occasionally nudged her bowl toward Ryan, as if offering him more. After breakfast, Ryan helped carry the small containers to the washing basin. He expected Larava to stop him, but she didn't. She watched him with a thoughtful expression, as if she was seeing something unfold that she had already hoped for. "I still haven't decided," he told her gently, "about staying, the way you asked." "I know," she replied. "But deciding is easier when you live the answer instead of thinking it." Her words sat heavily in his heart. He stepped outside to repair the heating unit connected to the side of the house. It wasn't broken, but it looked worn, and keeping busy helped him think. As he worked, he heard Yuli inside humming softly. She sounded happier than the night before. When he finished, the sky suddenly darkened for a moment. A deep rumble rolled across the valley. Ryan looked toward the hills and saw clouds gathering quickly, unnatural clouds moving too fast. A patrolling drone overhead turned red, signaling a warning. "Larava," he called, stepping inside. "Is that a storm?" Her face paled slightly. "Not a regular one. The storm beasts come when the electric winds rise. They hunt near the colony sometimes." Ryan frowned. "Beasts?" She nodded slowly. "Large creatures drawn to the charged air. They can break through weak structures. We close ourselves inside until they pass." Ryan glanced at the thin walls. "Will this house hold?" "It has before," she said, though her voice trembled. "But last time, Yuli's father left to protect the outer farms. He never returned." Ryan felt the air tighten around them. He stepped toward the door. "I'll check outside. Make sure nothing is close." Larava moved quickly, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "Rian, no. Humans are brave, but you are only one person." "Sometimes one person is enough to make a difference," he said quietly. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she stepped back, holding Yuli close as the child clung to her. Ryan stepped outside. The wind had started to hiss, and dust swirled around the valley. He saw movement in the distance, something large, moving low to the ground. It wasn't charging yet, but it was searching. He picked up a long metal rod that lay beside the house, probably used for farm work. It wasn't a weapon, but it might help. The beast came closer, emerging from the dust like a massive four-legged shadow. Its skin was rough and cracked like old stone, and its eyes glowed with a strange blue light. When it opened its jaws, static electricity sparked around its teeth. Ryan's heart pounded, but he didn't run. He stepped forward, putting himself between the house and the creature. "Not here," he muttered. "Not today." The creature snarled and charged. Ryan dodged to the side, swinging the metal rod. It struck the creature's shoulder with a clang, barely slowing it, but enough to turn its attention from the house. The beast roared and lunged again. Ryan jumped back, feeling the shock of its energy whip brush past him. He gripped the rod tighter. He wasn't a soldier, not a trained fighter. But humans had a strange way of surviving things they shouldn't. And he wasn't just fighting for himself, he was fighting for Lirava and Yuli. The beast lunged again. Ryan swung upward, striking its jaw. Sparks flew. The creature stumbled, more surprised than hurt. It shook its head and prepared to charge once more. Before it could, a sharp whistle pierced the air. Ryan turned and saw a colony guard drone flying toward them. It fired a burst of harmless sonic pulses, enough to push the creature back. The beast roared, unwilling to face both opponents, and finally retreated into the dust. Ryan dropped the metal rod, breathing heavily. The drone scanned him with a soft chime. A mechanical voice said, "Civilian defended colony citizen. Assistance logged." Ryan almost laughed. He didn't need a machine to tell him what he had done. He walked back to the house, tired but steady. Lirava met him at the door, her eyes wide with fear and relief. Yuli ran past her, throwing her small arms around Ryan's leg. "Safe," she whispered again, stronger this time. Ryan placed a gentle hand on her head. "Yeah, safe." Lirava stepped closer, her voice trembling. You protected us." "I just did what anyone would do," he said. "No," she replied softly. "Not anyone. Many would hide. Many would run. You stood outside alone." He didn't know how to respond. It felt strange to be praised for something he never thought about. He just acted. Yuli tugged his hand again, leading him inside. She sat next to him on the cushion and refused to let go of his hand. Her small fingers were warm. Lirava sat across from them, watching quietly. After a long moment, she spoke. "My people believe that a guardian is not chosen by birth. A guardian is chosen by action, the one who stands in the storm, the one who brings safety when fear rises." Ryan looked down at Yuli. She still held his hand tightly, her eyes calm for the first time since he arrived. "I didn't plan to become anything like that," he said softly. "Guardians never plan," Lirava whispered. "They simply reveal themselves when needed." Ryan looked away, feeling overwhelmed. "You don't know my past. You don't know what I lost or the mistakes I made." "I do not need to know," she replied. "Your past is behind you. But today, you protected what you could. My child spoke again because of you. My home stands because of you. These are not small things." He felt his heartbeat steady. The way she spoke, calm, sure, grateful, it made him feel seen in a way he hadn't felt in years. That evening, the sky cleared. Stars shone softly, and the valley was peaceful again. Rian sat outside the house, staring at the horizon. Lirava joined him quietly. "Are you thinking of leaving?" she asked. He sighed. "I was. But now, I don't know." "You do not have to stay because you saved us," she said gently. "You stay only if your heart finds a home here." Ryan looked at her. She was small, delicate, but full of strength. He looked through the open door at Yuli, who was arranging her toys and humming. "I came here looking for work," he said. "Something simple so I could survive." "And did you find it?" "I found something else." His voice softened. "I found a reason to stay." Lirava's eyes widened slightly. "Are you deciding now?" He nodded slowly. "If you'll still have me, I'll stay. Not as a worker. Not because of duty, but because this place, you and Yuli, feel like what I've been missing." Lirava exhaled shakily, her shoulders relaxing. "Then let me give you something." She reached into a small pouch at her side and removed a thin silver band with a glowing blue symbol. She placed it gently on Ryan's palm. "This is a family sign," she said. "If you accept it, you join our home, not as a replacement, Not as a stranger, but as someone chosen with trust. Ryan stared at the symbol. It felt warm, almost alive. He closed his hand around it. I accept. When he looked up, Lirava's eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. Her people rarely cried. They simply shone brighter. Then, she whispered, "You are part of us." Yuli ran outside, saw the symbol, and jumped with joy. She wrapped her arms around Ryan again, repeating her new favorite word, safe, safe, safe. Ryan lifted her gently, holding her with the same care he used to repair her toy. For the first time in years, his chest felt light instead of heavy. Lirava stepped closer, voice soft as the evening wind. I asked for a father, but the universe sent someone even better. Ryan looked at her, then at Yuli, then at the home behind them glowing with warm crystal light. He finally understood. He hadn't found a job. He had found a family. And for the first time since leaving Earth, he felt that he belonged exactly where he was,